Reaperman here, and this time I've got Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA. This is the N64 version of, exclusive version of Rush, and we're actually playing it here under emulation. And the reason we're doing that is N64 is a system that you either have to be playing on a pretty nice CRT, or well, really any CRT, or you have to be doing some kind of emulation to crisp it up, because upscaling really doesn't do the graphics much justice for whatever reason. So let's get into it here. One nice thing about emulation is you can actually set it up so that your A button is on this trigger and B button's on this trigger, you know, like a proper modern racing game here. Let's go ahead and enter in here. So we've got some various tracks. Only one of these is going to be set in San Francisco because Extreme Racing USA takes place all over the US. And as you can see there, we got Vegas, New York, the first one, Hawaii, whoops, New York, the second one, Alcatraz, this would of course be the one that does take place in San Francisco, Los Angeles here, Seattle, Half Pipe, which I've never finished, Crash, which I've never attempted, and Stunt. The stunt tracks have, I mean, I used to really love the stunt tracks, but they don't really seem to appeal to me much as an adult here. And as with all of these, you can swap them into backwards, mirrored, or both. You can adjust the level of fog, wind, laps, drones. 7 drones. That's quite a lot of drones. Turn checkpoints on or off, and deaths on and off. Turning deaths on is pretty nice because when you're going for time and you screw up, sometimes it's nice that the game just starts you over, basically. And this one does have a car customizer where you can choose like the different colors of your car and different shapes of stripes and all that stuff, and you can get a little bit of choice in there. You can also have some handling upgrades, etc. Let's get into the actual race here, and I actually have the laps turned way up, so this is gonna be a bit. Probably turn them down for the next race. For the first lap, I like to go down this little shortcut here. I usually don't like doing it on the subsequent laps. One thing you might notice about Rush 2 Extreme is the music is just so much better than the first game. In fact, it's on par with 2049. It's like they finally figured out that the techno music is just perfect for this. You can see your favorite hotels here on the Las Vegas Strip. It's a pretty good representation of pretty much all of them there. There's some kind of BS over to the right that I don't really know how to get to, but someday I'll figure it out. I actually bought 2 copies of the strategy guide for this game, which is kind of tricky to find, so I guess I could just check in there. And whoop, we slam it into reverse because you can actually hit the wall really hard if you're going sideways. And crash through here. And that was Fremont Street behind us, by the way, if you've never been to Vegas. Absolutely fantastic job that they've done. Also, coming up here, there's actually a crisscross. That's right, that's a level crossing with the rest of the drones. So we'll actually see, well, we'll have the possibility of hitting them a little bit later. And let's take this little shortcut here. Ah! I think it makes those little bird sounds when there's a shortcut around. I don't know for sure. I don't know if it just makes those sounds when you're on the grass or when there's a shortcut around. And let's take this shortcut right here because there's really no reason not to. It's not much of a shortcut. It's pretty obvious. One of the unlockables was down that shortcut. This game has 2 tiers of unlockables. It's got keys, which unlock different kinds of cars on that track. And it's got Mountain Dew cans, which unlock a special Mountain Dew car. You might notice all the advertising partners in this game. There's Mountain Dew and Nintendo Power and EGM and all that stuff. And then, of course, the rest of the signs are filled in with various Atari arcade games. And it is nice to see those. When's the last time you heard about Vapor TRX, right? There's that cool jump. Wish I knew how to get there. And there's Stratosphere. Come down here to like the pawn shop section. And again, I like to come up and I like to slam on reverse, not the brakes, because reverse, ooh, a little too hard. Reverse actually works a lot better in this game, so it actually dropped me up here on the road. It's all right. It's all right. Gosh, I really do like the music in this game. The track design is also just fantastic, as with all of the other Rush games. With the possible exception of LA Rush. I have never played that, and at this point in my life, I think it's probably too late. I hear it's terrible. California Speed, though, there's a pretty good one. I like that. That's kind of like the Rush team's take on Cruis'n USA. Well worth the trouble. It's kind of nice. There's a little bit of strategy to it in that if you get rear-ended by a car, you can go above your top speed, which I believe is also true in San Francisco Rush games here, but you're never really at your top speed in these, whereas in California Speed, you're frequently at your top speed. Alright, oh, there's a GameSpot. Remember those guys? Is that even still a website? It's probably owned by somebody in Ducker Media or one of those big conglomerate click holes. Okay, there we go. New York, New York. We got looks like Caesars. We got TI or Treasure Island, and looks like yeah. Oh, well, looked like we had the Rio there. That's actually my personal favorite of the Vegas hotels. Every hour on the hour they do kind of a carnival thing, except it's suspended along the ceiling. Very nice. Electronic Gaming Monthly. Yes, yes. And an advertisement for this game of all things. Boom. I actually don't know why we exploded last time. I must have just done it just a little too wrong. Now you do notice there is car deformation in this game, and that is absent from Rush 2049. There are extremely damaged car models that get swapped in, but only once you've exploded, and they're totally destroyed. You don't ever drive around with a partially damaged car like you do in Rush and Rush 2 here. Ooh. The reason I keep taking that shortcut is there are some particularly nasty corners that I'm avoiding. Really, two of them. They kind of come in a row. Maybe even three of them that I'm avoiding. This doesn't really save much time, but there's no reason not to do it. It's just a little bouncier, and in this game, bouncier is kind of dangerous sometimes. This game takes a very kind of gentle hand. New York, New York. Oh, we passed the MGM Grand back there. So this is probably a good time for this story, but the MGM Grand actually happens to be responsible for me owning my Neo Geo arcade cabinet. So back in the day, this is probably like 2002, 2003 probably, I didn't own any Neo Geos except for the Neo Geo CD and a Neo Geo Pocket, the black and white, not the color one. I imported it. And we went to the MGM Grand, and I guess I should start a little sooner. At the time, I had a bunch of money saved up for this upcoming handheld called the Tapwave Zodiac, and I wanted the big Z2 or whatever it was, and it was going to be like a $400 handheld, and it was going to make me happy, supposedly, because it was going to be better than those pocket PCs I was playing with. So I went to MGM Grand, and at MGM Grand, they have this thing where you can watch a pilot for a TV show and say what you thought of it. Whoop, whoop. Look out for this tree here. Anyway, this pilot that we watched was all about these couples, young couples, and they were trying to save up for various things, budgeting things, and these are, you know, educated folks, but they were had plenty of money around, but just weren't using it very effectively. And this one couple was trying to get a this one couple was trying to get a electric car, because that would get them in the carpool lane and would get them past traffic or whatever. So they had to save up for this electric car. Anyway, the husband, he actually helped his friend move, and trying to make some cash doing that, but instead of cash, he took his payment in the form of a Neo Geo MVS. And there was a little, you know, cutaway of the wife not being happy about it, and Then she said they were going to have a conversation about it and about selling it and all that, and then that conversation never happened again. And I'm sitting there leaning over the wife and like, there's no way he gets rid of that thing. And this was back in the dawn of reality TV, when it was maybe a little bit more reality than later. I actually have a friend that's been on a few reality TV programs, and while they're not fully scripted, like they don't have writers, they definitely have people directing what happens in them. But this was very early on, and being a pilot, I don't think there was any scripting to this. So anyway, I realized that for the $400 that I was going to spend on this stupid handheld that was going to be completely obsolete in a year or two, this Tapwave Zodiac Z2, that I could have a real conversation piece. I could have my Neo Geo MVS arcade system. So within a month or so, I had that. And I've never looked back, and I've never gone back to purchase a Zodiac. Never. And don't even want one anymore. It was a dumb thing that I wanted. So that is my MGM Grand story. It only has a little bit to do with MGM Grand. There's a Luxor. Oh, they got everything down here. New York, New York. You got the castle one that I can't remember the name of offhand. Looks like it stops at the Luxor, though. It doesn't look like it goes all the way down to Mandalay Bay. I think Mandalay Bay is the end one. And of course the other end is the Stratosphere down here. And of course these are legally distinct buildings. These are of course not the real hotels. I mean, any resemblance to real life landmarks is purely coincidental, of course. So the brakes in this game, in addition to being kind of useless, will always seem to pivot your car and will magically know the direction that you would rather not have the car pivot in. So I do recommend reverse instead. You get a good directional on, and then you just kind of either tap or slam it into reverse, and that kind of tightens your corners up. Did you see that right there? That was a car passing on the level crossing. So that was one of the 7 drone cars. Let's go all the way around this thing once to actually just see these corners. Corners are nasty. Look at that. I would just much rather take that shortcut. Very slow. It looks like there might be some shortcuts off to the right here that I don't know how to get to. Again, it's probably just me being lazy and not checking the strategy guide. Cruelly, Prima does not have a strategy guide for Rush 2049. They got the first 2 games, they do not have the third one, and the third one is probably the one that needs it the most. Oh, this is a long race. We're probably going to lap some of these guys. Maybe, we'll see. We'll see. I've taken some slightly longer paths here, so might be close. And upcoming is this big sweet jump that I don't know how to get to up here on the right. There it is. It looks like it's a spiral jump. Nice. Instead of taking the left down Fremont Street, let's actually take the real path this time. It goes up and around here. Oh, carried too much speed through there. And then we come up here, we drop immediately down. We cut this little triangle off. We try not to snag ourselves on those corners. On an actual N64, it can be really hard to see where those corners are. I think that was the same car that we did last time, so we didn't actually make any speed on that last lap. That's fine. Whoop. Let's come through here. And that's actually a tremendous shortcut. It's probably the best shortcut in this level. For the record, I know this track much better than the rest of them, so if you want to see me bumbling around, we'll get to some tracks I don't know very well here in a bit. And I just, usually when I play this game, I turn the laps all the way up like this is, and then I just completely zone out and let my hands take me around this racetrack. Specifically this one, because I especially like all of the details that they put on this one. I mean, just look at all the unique shapes that they created just for the strip here. They represented just about everything. So the Rush series is a fantastic series, and there is a reason to love as a favorite game just about every game in it. I'm not going to count LA Rush. I've never played that one, and I hear I should probably not bother. But there's people, a lot of people actually, that like Rush 2 the best. There's people that like the first Rush the Rock Alcatraz edition the best. That's a perfectly valid one. There's a lot of people that like 2049 the best, and I am in that crowd. And there's people who even like the 2049 Dreamcast version the best, and I probably used to be there. I may still be there, don't know. There's really no reason to like the Game Boy Color version. But other than that, no, there's valid reasons to like just about all of these games as a favorite. There's even reasons to like the original, oh hi, lapped him, the original N64 first game. Because for a long time I loved that one as the best, and that was just because, man, it was early in the N64's life, and there was just not a lot on it that I liked. I didn't like Mario, I didn't like Zelda, I didn't like that they were basically the same game with a different skin on them, and they were on N64, they were in the same genre, which that probably shouldn't be, am I right? Oh, looks like I got a high average, and one of my laps was fast. Okay, cool. Alright, let's get into the game here. This game's actually got a pretty nice attract mode too, and the music's pretty nice. Alright. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to turn the laps down quite a bit to 3, or else this is going to get to be kind of more of a zone out video for you guys. Ooh, this is tempting. Hawaii's also a nice one. No, we're gonna do this one. So I fairly recently did my Midway Arcade Treasures 3 Rush the Rock Alcatraz edition video, so this particular course is kind of fresh in my mind. And it is nice to see it all crisped up with the wonders of emulation. It might actually be nicer to look at it on this emulated N64 than it was to look at the emulated arcade version in Midway Arcade Treasures 3. There's the Mountain Dew can. There's a shortcut. That shortcut it's not my favorite, and it goes a little differently in this one than it did in the Alcatraz edition, if I recall. Boom. Should have aborted that quicker there. There's about 4 or 5 different ways to take this section of the rock. Let's see, how do they put it in the Rush 2049 lingo? Is it doing time on the rock is the theme song that they have for this. I usually don't like taking the over-the-top thing. It's actually forced in the Rush 2049 version. It looks like there's a bunch of stuff in the road. The drones take the shortcut in that case, but I think you blow up if you try and follow them. Random screaming. Ooh. Okay, let's see if we can hit the shortcut this time. Look out for the tree, and we just drive kind of right through it. Oh. Stop it, arrows. We have to go this way. I'm pretty sure it goes a completely different way in the actual Rush the Rock Alcatraz edition. It comes out in the same spot though, which is basically right here. It's a pretty good way to take that. Whoops. Now, oftentimes I'll be carrying too much speed, and I'll at this next corner I'll be pulled down onto this little beach ramp. Yeah, that was just gonna happen. Whee! Yeah. So I mentioned all the good games in the Rush franchise, and this is definitely up there. As far as bad games, I hear LA Rush is bad. I hear that the plot of that is all about this guy who won a bunch of cars in street racing, and he gets his mansion burgled and all of his cars stolen, so he has to have a bunch of street races to get them back instead of just filing an insurance claim, which, wow, that's some dedication. I'd insure the hell out of that guy. Then the other bad one is the Game Boy Color version of San Francisco Rush 2049. It's just a bad version. And I suppose the Midway Arcade Treasures 3 versions of 2049 aren't the best, but they're still broadly fun. So I'll give those a little bit of a pass. Whoa, screwed that up. One thing I will say about Midway Arcade Treasures 3, both 2049 and Rush the Rock, occasionally the music will just totally glitch out on them. I've noticed that it glitches out just about all the time on the PS2 version. Ooh. It glitches out just about all the time on the PS2 version, and almost none of the time on the GameCube version. 2049 will glitch a little bit on the GameCube version, but you can go into the audio menu and just kind of mess with any setting there, and it'll restart the song and it'll be correct. So just in case you're ever stuck with Midway Arcade Treasures 3, there's your tip of the day. Let's actually go for a gimmicky course. Let's go for this stupid half-pipe thing that always screws me up. Is there any way that I'm just never going to make this? Oh, can I back up, and can I turn my laps down to maybe 2? Because I don't think I can make 3 laps of this. This is some pretty kick butt music here. I don't know if it's Barry Leitch. I know that he had some part of the Rush 2049 soundtrack, I believe just for the console version and the 2 additional tracks in SE. So I don't think this is him. It might be though. It sounds like him. Whoever they found was very close stylistically. Oh, look at just the number of God rays in this thing. I was really impressed by those God rays in the very first San Francisco Rush game. And there were only like, whoop, there were only like 1 set of them on the first track. Whoop. So this is pretty much how this race is going to go, is I'm going to lose. And I'm not going to lose in a nice way where I come in like dead last. No, I'm going to lose in the bad way where I don't even finish because the checkpoints... Oh, I can turn checkpoints off. Ooh. I can complete this for the first time. Well, who knows? Maybe turning the laps down is enough to get me to complete this for the first time. I already know that I've had better runs at this, though, than this. I will say the emulation, I think it's a little bit dark there. Whoa, try and be on the outside of these. Oh. This is actually super tricky. Requires a lot of concentration. You know, I will say that Rush 2, it definitely scratches the itch for San Francisco Rush games, which is good, because we're never going to get another one. I can always hope, but I don't think we're ever going to get another one. Well, who knows? Raw Thrills might help bring it back. They'd probably be the only people that would care. Boom. After all, they brought back Cruisin', and they brought back the kind of a spiritual successor to Hydro Thunder. Wow, I finished. Yay, turning the laps down helped. And of course I got the highest average I've ever accomplished, because it's the only time I've ever accomplished this course. Okay, good. Alright, let's pick a different course here. Let's do Hawaii. Actually, let's back out and let's change the number of laps back up to 3, just to make it worth our while here. Rush. This game, or this level, has an awful lot of shortcuts that are awfully deadly, and I can almost never do them right. There's one up here to the left where you can go into a little cave. There it was. I'll try and remember that one for next time. Right now I'm just trying to remember how this particular level goes, and ooh. Ooh. Oh, that's right, there was a shortcut up there. Okay, I'm starting to remember. And I think this is the one where you can bust out and go down into the ditches. And that is always fun. Yeah, there's a big long shortcut over there to the right that there's a giant building right in the path, and I always crash into it. Well, not always. I have successfully made it. I think there's another one off to the left here that drops down. I keep hearing these little bird cheeps, and I think they indicate a shortcut. Yeah, I think there's a way to drop down into there. I think that section of fence. Well, I will definitely take this one, because my brain still remembers this shortcut, as you can just kind of go through and go around. Like, this can't be much of a shortcut, because even some of the drones take it. Whoa! Ah! Very nearly landed that one. So yeah, I don't actually crash all that much in San Francisco Rush for such an explodey game. It's still kind of my zone out title. And if you stick to the main course, you don't tend to die all that much. So, oh, here's a shortcut that I don't actually know if it's a shortcut. Feels like kind of a long cut. Sometimes I get out here and I don't really know how to get back to the course. I think this is one of those. I'm gonna try and get up here. Yep. Alright, so that's one lap down. It's a long one. Let's try and get up to this cave up here. Figure out how we can die in here. Ah, easily. We can easily die in here. Okay, it's a pretty nice shortcut. Boom, we can actually come up here too. You can even ride that wall for a bit. If I recall, there was a key up it, and keys are how certain unlockables are unlocked in this game. Whee! Let's head over here. There's actually a smarter way to get into this. Ah, here's the thing that kills me. Nope. Sorry, I maybe noped out of that one a little prematurely. The other thing about these games is I never seem to mind not coming in first. They're just drones. You set their difficulty. It's really more of a... the whole game series is much more of a time trial event anyway. So having the drones come in front of me isn't really a big deal. Especially since in the arcade versions, when you win free games, they're just ridiculously hard anyway on these Midway titles. Assuming the machine you're on is set up for it. I keep talking like this game actually made it to the arcade, but no, N64 exclusive. Really wish that there would be like a remastered Rush collection, but I'm pretty sure the people that own Atari Games, which by the way is Time Warner, I'm pretty sure they don't know they owned them, and I'm pretty sure they don't remember that they acquired them with Midway. Because all they have Midway doing these days is Mortal Kombat games. They've still got the Chicago studio as Neversoft or one of those. Still got the Chicago studio open. Now, way back when I was dating the wife, gosh, this would be probably 2001. She introduced me to somebody that actually worked at the Chicago studio thing, but he was not a game developer. He was into computers in some way, and he was talking about the time that they closed down the Sunnyvale location, and that must have been the studios that do these Rush games that he went out and helped close down. Oop. Oh yeah, this is the clever way to get onto that little road out there. Ah. Nintendo Power, EGM. All of these old names. I should probably go out to eBay and find myself a big stack of EGMs to buy. I'm gonna slam on the brakes in the hopes of keeping myself down a bit. No. So in the last week, I actually picked myself up a Sears catalog, one of the thick ones, and wow, was that ever a time machine. I got like a spring summer of '93, which I think was the last of the thick ones. Let's go down this way. Kaboom! I cannot remember how this shortcut terminates, but that means I usually die. There's the Mountain Dew can. There's the wrong way. Is it really the wrong way, though? Probably not. Probably the right way. Ah! It was going to be the right way if I didn't completely screw that up. This game is all about... Ooh! Is all about clean takeoffs on your jumps. So that's this game's primary interest, is you get a clean jump and you are good. I don't think this can end well for me. Oh, maybe. I mean, that one didn't, but obviously that's another shortcut. Must link up with this whole dock scenario from the other half of this shortcut. The road out there that we took that last lap. Finish! Alright.
What's your name?
What's your name? Nothing nasty now. I do love that little jingle.
Start with a G. Start with a Z.
Alright. Let's pick one with some more verticality. Yes, even more than Hawaii. Let's pick Seattle. Yeah, let's do Seattle. Let's see if this is the one I think it is. One of the bonus tracks in Rush the Rock. Oh, there was a little tweet and clearly a shortcut there. Did anybody else see that one? Now this track really reminds me of one of the ones in Rush the Rock Alcatraz edition, how it keeps doing these uphill jumps that you can kind of get around a little bit by taking the intermediate ramps, and there's all kinds of ways to change which one of these you're on. You can just change back and forth, and that's fun. It doesn't do anything but waste time, but it's so much fun switching from path to path on this. It all drops us pretty much in the same spot. And I come down this one. There's another shortcut over there, by the way. Oh, it's okay. I had to shed some speed here because this is tricky one. Whee! Oh, you know what? A lot of the things I thought about the Hawaii track were actually this one. This is the one where you can get down into that little drainage ditch, I think. All of these Rush games, and they are definitely blurring together in my mind. Whoop. Yeah, one of my favorite online video series rates the Rush games, and that guy came up with Rush 2 as his favorite, which I cannot really fault. It's not my favorite, but I can definitely see why it is so well loved. Oh, kaboom! Another bird call. Oh. You know what? I think I've actually mistaken. No, the one with the ditch has got to be the Los Angeles course. We'll do that one next. Oh. Well, let's take the lower one this time. We were down here last time, but only for a brief moment until we slammed into that jump. There's a way to get even lower on one of these too. There's a way to get all the way down there to the right. I don't recall that path actually getting me anywhere though outside of Sweet Jump. It's an Area 51 poster that we just passed. Remember Area 51? That's a blast from the past. Area 51 and Maximum Force. Whoop. Meant to hit reverse, and instead I slammed the reset button, the abort button. Whee! Especially on these vertical ones, getting a clean jump is really, it is the trick. If you ever want to see fun in this game, turn the wind up and then turn deaths on, and then drive very conservatively over the jump as you watch all of the drones just die. Oop. I remember I used to suck at 2049 badly on Dreamcast, and the only way I could finish this championship was by doing that trick of the extra wind. Because the drones do not take the wind into account. Well, there's the Space Needle, or a legally distinct landmark that coincidentally may resemble the Space Needle. Let's look for a way down from up here. No, the way down must be on the lower course. There is definitely a way down there. I remember I've been down there. I can see the road from here. So one of the complaints about the arcade version of 2049 is that with drones on, it runs at 30 FPS, where the Dreamcast version runs at 60. Well, I think this version runs at 30 the whole time, and it seems pretty smooth to me, so I think I'll survive with the arcade version. By the way, if anybody's been tracking the drama on my arcade version, it hasn't moved really. It hasn't been updated since the 5th. It's currently the 7th, but it hasn't actually moved since the 31st of 2021. Which is, you know, it's been about a week that it's just been kind of sitting at Dallas Fort Worth trying to get here. It's made it almost all the way to me, but I am definitely unable to go out there in my Miata and haul it back. Oh. That worked out about as well as we could expect there, didn't it? Someday I gotta figure out how to get that key. Anyway, let's just finish up at whatever place we're in. 3rd. Not bad, considering I suck at this course.
What's your name?
Little jingle again.
Start with a C. Start with a G. Start with a Z.
Nothing nasty now. Alright, one race. Reaperman. Let's go and let's check out... Let's check out LA. LA's kind of a low and open course. Gauntlet Legends! Front and center. Mace. So when I was in A school in the Navy, we actually had a, was it Mace or Mage, one of those. It's this terrible 3D fighting game. And we had one of those right in our barracks. I was an information systems technician, and we had a little, we had one arcade machine in the barracks, and it was that one. I think there's an N64 port of it. I may be getting it confused with, well, any of the nearly identical 3D fighting games back then. But yeah, I distinctly remember it being there, and only now as an adult do I realize it was probably there not because they thought anybody would love it, but because it's put out by an American company. I remember there was a key here. Oop. Nice. There's a bird song, but clearly no place for there to be a shortcut. So I don't know about that one. I believe there are some ability to take, since we're dealing with square blocks, there's different paths just because you can drive different ways around those blocks. Let's head down here. Let's try and do that ditch thing that's going to kill me. I don't know how close we are to that thing, but there's a place where you can break through a fence and go down and run around in this, probably the LA River, or something legally distinct from the LA River, of course. So we're just looking for a little fence off to the right. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah, let's do this. Kaboom! I suppose if I was smart, I would have stayed up there. Heck with that. Let's take it through this water here, and let's go up in here. And I seem to remember this is going to kill us somehow. It's all the little transitions keep me unstable on my wheels. Oh, 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 almost. I'm not even sure that's a shortcut. There's probably a better way to take that. And that looks like a tunnel if I ever saw one. So I used to live in the LA area. Well, I was stationed in the LA area at Point Magoo, so we used to come down to specifically Santa Monica quite a lot, and we drove through past, well, a fair amount of some of this scenery. Oop. So apparently when you live in LA, everything you want to do is like an hour away by car. It doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes or 10 miles away, or if it's 40 miles away, it's going to take you an hour to get there. It's just the weirdest thing. I once missed an exit and it took me 4 hours sitting in traffic to get turned around the correct way. Not a fan of that place. Really though, the traffic wasn't the bad part. The people were awfully mean. So, I mean, we had friends down there, but every time we thought we made a California friend, it turned out to be somebody from Minnesota or the Michigan, like a Youper. Met some of them down there. The wife and I did the Rocky Horror Picture Show quite a lot. She was in cast, and I couldn't devote enough weeks to join their cast down in Santa Monica because of the Navy Watch and all that. Ooh. Yeah, I've been on a cast or two. Well, really just one renamed, and I was a Brad and a Frankenfurter occasionally. Mostly a Brad. If you can imagine me 100 pounds ago, well, I guess probably more like 50 pounds ago now. Really not even, probably like 40 pounds. I actually lost a considerable amount of weight. It probably doesn't look like it, but if you go back and look at my 2017 videos, I was considerably heavier. We'll see. I got a doctor appointment coming up here on Monday, and maybe I get off my beatus medication. I think I may have beat the beatus. He doesn't have his wheels in yet. Yeah, his wheels didn't. They glitched out. I would say that's an emulation thing, but probably not. It's probably they know how long the wheels are really visible for in the actual game, and probably didn't load those in that early. It's probably because there's 3 cars on screen at once, and something had to go. Oh. I will say the music in this level probably the weakest in this game, but it is nice that it's still electronic and not that weird kind of rock mix that was in a lot of the games or the tunes in the first Rush game. So we are on the last lap here. Ah. I botched that one. It'd just be so great to have properly, I guess they call it remastered these days, but just an HD up-res of the Rush games all in one would just be fantastic. Ooh. I mean, of course, the dream would be getting a new Rush game, but that is just probably impossible. Oh. Come on, come on. Oop. A little bit of a punt there. Let's try and stay up here. The control is so much better in Rush 2 versus the first Rush game. And having control that's a little bit out there is kind of a hallmark of the franchise. It's that the physics in this game are not realistic by any stretch, but they are extremely challenging. and they are consistent, so that's pretty nice of them. Pretty much all you want from an arcade racer. It's got basically moon physics when you jump, even though there's codes in the arcade that change the physics even worse and make it more moon-like. Obviously not the arcade version of this game because there isn't one, but the for sure 2049 has it, and probably the original Rush. Anyway, this has just been kind of a chill gaming session, and I guess until next time, Reaper Man out.